Life doesn't give you much when you're a San Diego fan. We've got the 84 World Series lost, the 98 World Series lost, the 94 Super Bowl lost that doesn't even count anymore because it was done by that lightning bolt team whose name we don't mention on this program. San Diego is famously known as the biggest city in America never to win a major sports championship. We've had 3 NBA teams and 1 NFL team leave town. We've never had an NHL team or a decent rink for them to play in, even if we did. But what we've lacked in keeping teams and winning games that matter, we've been compensated for in other ways. We got to have Dan Fouts for his entire career. We got to have Don Coryell first with the Aztecs and later with the Lightning Bolt team, whose name we don't mention on this program. And we got to have 20 years of the right fielder, number 19, Anthony Keith Gwynn. And I really do miss Tony today. But he is an easy man to miss, because he would have been over the freaking moon about the Aztecs being in the Final Four. Oh, what, you don't associate the name Tony Gwynn with the game of basketball? Well, you ought to, and here is why. This man was a first-round NBA draft pick, after all, as a 5'10 point guard, no less, was probably one of the 3 best point guards in the country in 1979. And if you look at San Diego State's all-time stat leaderboards, even with all the great players they have had in this century, you will still see a whole lot of Tony Gwynn's name on those lists, including in the number 1 spot on the career assists list, and by a fairly wide margin. He would have been absolutely tickled to death about all of this, and I so badly wish he was here to see it. When the Aztecs basketball team did well, he enjoyed it more than he ever enjoyed his own considerable exploits on the baseball field, including the .338 lifetime average, 8 batting titles, 3,141 hits, 5 gold gloves, and first ballot Hall of Fame selection. If you're not from here and you don't know the history, it's really impossible to overstate how bad the Aztecs basketball program was when Steve Fisher and Brian Dutcher first arrived here in '99. There were 306 teams in Division I college basketball at the time, and nobody didn't agree that the Aztecs were one of the teams on the wrong side of number 300. They actually were playing their home games in their practice gymnasium at that point, a venue with under 400 seats, because they were selling so few tickets at the San Diego Sports Arena, they couldn't even cover the cost of their rent. They won 4 games that first year and went winless in the conference. I heard a guy on a radio call-in show today saying that during the off-season between the first year and the second year, he went to a Meet the Coach event with Steve Fisher, and a grand total of 8 other people showed up. It was the 5th year before they made the NCAAs. It was the 8th year before they made back-to-back tournaments. The 11th year before they won a game. But it was that 11th year that put them on the national map when they won their first 20 in a row to start the season and got all the way up to number 4 in the country before losing a couple of games to Jimmer Fredette and BYU. They reached their first of 2 Sweet 16s that year. The other was in 2014 behind a front line of Kawhi Leonard, Billy White, and Malcolm Thomas before losing to the eventual national champions UConn in a game they absolutely should have won and which I prefer still not to think about. But it's the 2020 season that still sticks in the collective craw around here more than any other. It was Dutcher's 3rd year as head coach after Fisher had retired. It's either the second or possibly best team in program history. They're 30-2. They're top 10 in the poll all season. They're in line for a number 1 seed in the tournament, maybe even the number 1 overall seed. And the freaking season gets canceled over the stupid China virus the day before Selection Sunday. So I thought it was really touching and appropriate in the post-game news conference after yesterday's victory that the guys who were still around from that team dedicated this Final Four to the guys who were upperclassmen on the 2020 team and never got a chance to play in the tournament. And it's well done, boys. Now, go and win the whole thing, why don't you? You come home with a national championship, I'm going to tell you right now, this town is going to freaking explode. Jim Eagle, hit the Aztec Fight song, please.